So the 23 vintage is an interesting vintage and let's say a little bit more complicated than the 22 vintage with a more climate excess, I would say. We had a very good winter and then a superb spring combined with a beautiful flowering. So we have a good, in June, a superb potential of harvest. The summer was, we had a lot of water, a lot of rain, but a lot of sun as well. So with not too much excess, so the vineyard has enough energy and water to really go to reach the September point, the harvest point. So, I would say the key point in the 23 vintage is the yields. So it's right for Chardonnay, but it's even more right for Pinot Noir. That's really the key point, and maybe 7, 8 or 9 years it has not been as important. So because the potential of the vintage was very high with the reds, and the key was really to reduce the yield, so we had to do some green harvest in August to reduce the crop and to reach the perfect ripeness level. So, we had a very good September with a little bit of rain, but it didn't change anything about the quality of the grapes. We had zero botrytis, and when we finished the 24th of September, still the grapes were looking very good. The date of harvest, because it was super hot late August, and I think there was a very short period during which one you had to harvest as quick as possible. So we started the 4th of September with Meursault, Le Limousin, and it was already 13.5, so it was enough for me in terms of ripeness, and the target was really to finish before the 10th of September. Some of white Burgundies could be harvested later, but I think it could be too late for me to really keep the balance for the whites. For the reds, we started the 8th of September, and until the end of the month, it was very. We had some rain, but it didn't change really the quality of the grapes. We had zero botrytis until the end of the month. We finished the end of the month, so it was very easy to harvest. So we could take our time and wait for the ultimate ripeness with Pinot Noir. The vintage 23 was quite easy in vinification. You know, after the first sorting, we have 2 sorting tables here. It was really easy. There were not that many grapes to sort, and then we use gravity to put the grapes into the tank. And we didn't do a lot of changes compared to a normal vintages, I would say, with a gentle and light extraction. And we didn't plunge the cap that much by foot, and I prefer to work like a gentle and light infusion. We prefer to let the grapes infuse. Maceration did last between 15 and 20 days, more or less, and we have quite good colors with the 23, which is the good surprise. And after this gentle process, we press the grapes, and then they are now in barrels in the 228 liters in the cellar. The 23 vintage will remain in the memories, I'm sure, in the future, like maybe 2014 or 2017. There's a very good balance in this vintage, but the main characteristic of the year is that you have an opulence, a richness that you really get in the top vintages, but without any excess of fatness. You still have the nervosity and the finesse of what is Chardonnay in Burgundy. We are now at 12 months of aging, and as like every year, and this is the rule, we tried to start 20 years ago to do 2 winters in the cellar. So that means a few more months, five more months will be necessary before the bottling of the 23 vintage. The wines have really a style with the characteristic of the fruitiness is yellow fruits. That's really the tip with peach, which is very characteristic from the vintage, I would say, with a beautiful sweetness as well. And we have 2 nice new wines in this vintage. We started a few years ago with Centenay Premier Cru Passe-Temps, and now we have another wine from this very dynamic appellation, Centenay. It's a Centenay village with an organic farming, so it will be super accessible. And we have another one, which is the super prestigious Criot Bâtard Montrachet, you know. So it's a very small Grand Cru, a little bit more than 1.5 hectares total, with less than 10 different owners. And we are super proud to have this wine in 23 in the cellar. We made only 1 barrel, so there will be only 300 bottles total production on the market next year. The reds of the 23 vintage is the surprise compared to the whites, I mean, because we didn't expect that nice quality. I would describe the vintage as fruity with a nice concentration. When I say fruity, maybe similar fruitiness like 21 vintage, but with a little bit more concentration, a little bit more structure. So 23, you can find some very interesting wines, especially in Côte de Beaune, I would say, in the 23. The characteristic of the aromas of the vintage is very classic, very red fruit driven, and the texture of the tannins is super elegant, super extra sweet, I would say, and very accessible already young. So it's going to be really a nice vintage, I think, for the restaurants in the next 5-6 years.